I've been to 57 countries in the world. A lot of people have been to a lot more than me. A lot of people have, especially back in the States, a lot of people don't even have passports. They don't travel that much. And I admit that some of these countries, maybe I was just in the airport or maybe in the train station for a short while. Some of them I lived in for a really long time. China, probably the longest. Thailand probably is number two. And number three would be probably Malaysia of all the countries that I visited. And what did I learn? What did I come to learn after going to so many places? Well, when I was a kid, the home where I was born was in Linwood, California. I'll be back there soon visiting in a couple of weeks. I'll go back. I haven't been there for a very long time. When I was 6 months old, we left. We moved. We moved to Westminster, which is in Orange County, which is not far away. It's still in the Los Angeles area. And then after a few years, we moved to Chicago. And when we lived in Chicago, we lived in an apartment. That didn't last. Maybe a year later, we moved to another apartment in Chicago in the same general area. And we moved to another apartment in Chicago in the same general area. Then we moved to another apartment in Chicago in the same general area. Then we moved out to Des Plaines and we moved out to Mount Prospect. These are all northwest suburbs of Chicago. Then I went to Los Angeles when my parents split up. So what I'm getting at is in my history, I'm 63 years old. I'm sure I moved more than 63 times in my life. So to be able to go to 57 countries is no big deal because I'm used to a new environment. I'm used to changing. I'm used to being by myself. And I'm used to not having the same old routine and the same job and the same friends and the same ride home and even the same transportation. So when you visit 57 countries, what happens? Well, what happened to me? Nobody's ever really asked me that. They've asked me what my favorite place in the world is. So I did learn that from visiting a lot of places. And I've concluded that the best country in the world or the best place in the world is where our loved ones are. Doesn't matter the beautiful mountain view or the beaches or the snow or the warmth or the whatever. The weather doesn't matter that much. Being poor, being rich, having a nice house, having a crummy house, even being homeless. None of these things are as important as the nurturing and the love you get from the people there. So you'll find if you ask people this question, more often than not, almost all the time, they're going to conclude, well, that's where my family is. Or that's where my good friends are. That's one thing I learned from traveling a lot. I learned that there's an incredible amount of prejudice. So it's not only Black and white people in America having trouble getting along, although that's a really big problem. And I hope that community will address that and help people get to know each other because most racism comes out of ignorance. In fact, I don't know any racism that doesn't come out of ignorance. A bad experience that could spur on a lack of understanding and awareness about where other people are coming from. Think about it as like a dog bites a little girl when she's 6 years old. Now, the rest of her life, even when she's 87, she's still terrified of dogs because she had that experience. So what has she done? She's taken every single dog in the world and put them under one idea, which is what people can do. Oh, I'll take every single Tunisian person because I ate some bad food when I was visiting Tunisia or something like that. All the Tunisians are bad, or all the this or all the that, or religion or politics or skin color or race, whatever. This is the ignorance of racism. And having people not like me because I'm white, not like me because I'm American, not trust me because I'm a man, thinking that I'm going to do some kind of violation, some kind of violence, or some kind of predatory behavior just because I'm a man and just because I'm a Western man. Got a lot of that. Or thinking that I'm a sexual deviant, so they could be a sexual deviant and make a pass at me because they saw some movie from America where people were loose and they were sleeping around. There's so many misconceptions, and I got to know this really well in China. What misconceptions are created and are empowered by the government, by what the statements the government makes, their entertainment, and the jealous husbands that will tell you stay away from that foreigner because he's going to rape you, or I don't want you to spend time with him because you're going to have an affair with him. And on the other side, the incredible fascination that some people will give to an American or to a white person like me who's traveled around, and they automatically think that I'm better somehow, that I'm rich, which I'm not, that I'm going to give them an opportunity to live in America, or I'm going to give them a better life, or whatever, that that I'm in a position, a powerful position, and I'm not. But they assume that. So there's two sides of that coin. There's being looked down upon, and there's also being admired for something that I should have no credit for because I didn't do anything. So I don't deserve the admiration that they're giving me just because I'm American, just because I'm a white male, whatever. I've been hated a lot in some neighborhoods that don't have any white people in them for being the cause of the racial problems in America. Hated automatically. Hated for not being Black, or hated for not being Hispanic, just hated for being white. And when you travel the world, you'll see, okay, this is kind of a negative thing. One thing that I learned, though, was that everybody wants to be happy. Everybody wants financial security. Now, too many people in the world want to be rich. And what are you going to do with all that money? There's a certain amount of money that a human being can consume, can use, can spend, can enjoy per year, or in the savings in their lifetime. There's a certain limited amount of money, and you can't really, it's almost like, okay, I want a nice steak dinner. Well, how many steak dinners do you want? Well, I only need one. I'm going to be full. How many cars do you need? I only need one car because that's all I drive. And I need to be able to repair it if something goes wrong. But I don't need 2, 10, 50 cars like some people have. They build more garages, and then they're so proud of their car collection. Some people are so overindulgent. They want to be so rich. They've got a house, 2 people, 40 bedrooms, 45 bedrooms, 17 servants, things like that. And this is another thing that you learn around the world, that people are, so many of people, especially people that are in terrible poverty, they want to be rich because they want to overcompensate. Somebody who's dying of thirst, yeah, they'll dream about a glass of water, but a lot of times they're going to dream about having a whole water tower, so they'll never be out of water again. And the panic and the terror of suffering in extreme poverty can make so many of us so hungry for that. And everybody around the world has reacted to a certain extent. Then there are the people that are greedy. And they think, oh, if I have another mansion, if I have another $1 million or another $1 billion or whatever, then I'm going to be happier. I'm going to achieve my goals, things like that. Sometimes this is kind of a sickness, kind of a sick greediness. And most all of the time, what this is going to lead to is the person realizing they have an empty and meaningless life. Because the most meaning that we can get from life, that I've learned from my travels, is helping others. Helping people, especially that can't pay you back, that owe you nothing. Saving a child's life with a few dollars in medicine or food, or digging a well in a country where they haven't had clean water, where they're drinking, bug-infested water that gives them diarrhea and the kids die from that. What could be more significant? What could be more meaningful? What could give you a greater sense of accomplishment, contribution, gratification in your life than helping others that really need help? Empowering these people so that they're no longer sitting in a hut on the dirt dying, but they're actually able to get an education. They're actually able to become a doctor, a lawyer, a scientist, a musician, a dancer, whatever they want to be. how much beauty is there in that contribution? So when you go around the world and you see these things that people have in common, you see the common mistakes that we make or the common reactions that we have to our present circumstances, which can be absolutely horrible. And when you see the beauty in each person, you see the potential in each person. I'll tell you right now, the feeling that I get from my travel, not even 1% of the potential of humanity has been tapped. Why? Because there's no system for that. There's no community. There's no place where people can work together and cooperate and help each other out, where they're taught about the principle, not of revenge, not of racism, not of hate, not of getting back at somebody, not of being stingy, but knowing that your community will watch your back and you can watch their back, and that you can help each other to actualize and be the best you that you can be. And that's the core of community. That's what community is about. We're not doing that at all. I don't see that at all in the world, in the places that I've been. It's so rare. It's not tribalism because it crosses any tribe. Go ahead, believe what you want. Have whatever crazy ideology you want. As long as that ideology is not preventing you from seeing each of us as equals, each of us deserve respect, each of us deserve compassion and having a happy life. Get out of your own neighborhood, get out of your own town, get out of your own country, go and see the world and see what the world is really about. That was my goal. When I was living, where was I in? I was in San Diego, and I would visit Mexico sometimes. I thought, okay, I'm going to learn about Mexico, but I knew, heck, there's a couple hundred countries in the world. Then I started my travels, and I haven't looked back. And I don't think anybody should deprive themselves of the knowledge that you get, the understanding of the world that you get from learning another language, or two, or three, or four, visiting multiple countries, having friends that have nothing in common with you, except just the desire to be friends, and the realization that we're all one big human family. And there are people all over the world, even of the race, religion, country that you hate. There are people that love you, and they're your family. They're your brothers and sisters. They're your human family. And you become more of a human being, much more of an evolved human being, once you open your mind, your arms, and your heart to these people that you never find in your own neighborhood. It's worth it. Do some travel if you can. I highly recommend it. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe.